Welcome everybody, it's Salman. In this video we are going to be looking at more Call of Duty World War II Zombies storyline, because this is already the third time we've got storyline information for the new mode, and it's happening every other day. I believe it's going to be leading up until the launch, so we could expect one more after this. And also, if you guys haven't really heard about this before and you're not really caught up, I recommend go watching my two previous videos on this thing, coming back to this one, because it'll make more sense if you do that. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's actually get into this video. So today we got a couple things. Today was actually from Mr. Dalek JD, so all credit to him. I'll link him down in the description if you guys want to check out his original stream and all the things that are really important to this video. I'll link them all down there if you guys want to check out any of that, especially the another little clip that we got for what we believe again to be in game. But anyways, it's pretty darn interesting if you guys want to check any of that out. What we're going to be doing is just looking at all the storyline information and just try to explain it. We got more information on Marie's journal, and we got a note from Klaus, and we also got that little clip of gameplay that I mentioned just a second ago. But first we're going to start off with the journal, then we'll continue on from there. So this journal is a bit different because the ones before took place on June 24th and June 23rd, but this one actually skipped a couple of days. It actually skipped all the way to 2 months later on August 3rd. It's August 3rd 1943, so it's still the same year, but it is going to be like, I guess, a couple months later, unlike the other one, because the other one was a day after the first one. So the second one, let me actually clarify that the second one was just a day after the first one, but this one skips 2 months later pretty much. But anyways, let's actually just read this, and of course we'll talk about it right after. After weeks of questioning in regards to the Middleburg discoveries, Regal has finally approved a mission in Bavaria. My careful framing of Klaus' notes has nothing to do with this good news, apparently. As it is so often the case, events beyond my control open up a door of opportunity. According to the source out of our agent in La Resistance, the Nazis have begun to ship stolen art into the very same mines we have been discussing for the past 2 months. This was enough to convince the MFAA to take the risk, their first mission behind enemy lines. But the best news comes from the very bottom of Regal's letter. A simple request of operations leader who, with experience in running espionage, someone with the knowledge of the area, and preferably agent fluent in the local dialect. The Major says he has already forwarded a requested name to the OSS. Name, singular, dare I hope, Marie. Now this is pretty interesting because this has a lot relating to what we heard inside the last one, because especially when she says my careful framing of Klaus's notes, because she was kind of just saying how it'd be a good idea to go over this place because she really just wants to go save Klaus from all the Nazis and all that stuff, but she couldn't convince anybody in the FFAA. Of course, it's the Monuments, Fine Arts, and Achievements program that just protects those things from the Nazis and all that stuff, just takes them back from the Nazis, and she wanted them to go over there for she could really just go help her brother. But it looks like that was really no use because they went and did it anyways, because the Nazis decided to go and ship their stolen arts to that same exact mines, the salt mines that we again talked about in my last video. So it looks like that already happened. It's just going to be pretty convenient for her, especially because she is a part of the OSS, and the person they want running or leading this group is somebody who's experienced in running espionage, which of course OSS was pretty much a CIA at the time, so I would imagine that they're very skilled in that and has knowledge of the area. She's originally from Bavaria because that's her hometown, and of course fluent in the local dialect, which of course again she's from there. She's going to be one of the playable characters because we got that revealed to us today too, which is really cool because I wasn't thinking they were going to put her as one of the playable characters. I was hoping so, but it looks like it is going to be the case, and I'm pretty hyped for this. And at the same time, okay, I'm kind of getting off track here, but I just want to say this real quick, but because we have already got revealed to us the 3 out of the 4 playable characters, we only have one more that could possibly be revealed to us, and a lot of people are saying it's Klaus, her brother. And at first I was thinking that's a really cool idea, that siblings fighting together, which was something we've never seen, because normally in zombies these people really have no real connections before actually meeting each other inside the maps or anything like that. That's never been the case, and I always thought it'd be so cool if they had some past behind them that you could actually explore throughout the maps. It wouldn't be a really big thing for the main storyline, but it'd be cool backgrounds to the characters where you could build up those characters. I just thought it'd be so cool, but they could do that same thing without having Klaus as a playable character, because it feels like Klaus is this thing that Marie just can't reach. She's just trying to get there, constantly trying to get there, and she's always just can't reach there, because she says this herself. She says, as often is the case, events beyond my control open the door of opportunity, but she always says that there's events beyond her control, of course, then the second part, but it's just playing off that idea that she just can't reach the place where she wants to go. It just would seem like such a cool idea for the story, and that after reading this, I'd be pretty happy if Klaus was always so close yet so far from Marie, because that's her goal, to go reach him and then, you know, save him from all that Nazis and all that other stuff, which we'll see more in this next note that we actually have from Klaus that I'll get into right now. But I just thought it'd be a really cool idea. I just want to throw that in right there, but go ahead and tell me what you guys think about that idea. Do you guys like it or not? But anyways, now let's actually get into the Klaus's letter. And now this is very interesting because it says Faustus, which is interesting because this has been in every single zombies mode so far, this Faustus tale, and it has to do with Mephistopheles and all this weird stuff. I don't want to go deep into this again. If you guys have watched my Infinite Warfare zombie storyline videos, you would know what I'm talking about here, but it's just a story of Faustus who makes a deal with Mephistopheles, and he just gains knowledge of everything, I guess, or something like that. It's just a weird story, but it is interesting to see that it's already introduced inside this storyline because it's been in all of them so far. But anyways, we're going to read this, and of course I'll talk about it right after. M, probably talking about Marie. They have done horrible things here, monstrous things. Strauss is more twisted than you could imagine, so driven to bringing about the final Reich that nothing else matters to him. He will stop at nothing. Marie, our home is no longer our home. It is a horrible shell of what you once knew. Promise me that you will never return here. I want to stay and fight, but I am scared. Strauss is beginning to be suspicious of me. It is almost as if the Nazis can smell my doubt. I need to escape Middleburg. I pray that it is safer in Cambridge, but I fear that soon we will be able to witness whatever horrors they are keeping hidden underneath the mountain. I do not know when I will be able to contact you again. If you do not hear anything, I hope you will pass along my story as a cautionary tale. I have this image of arriving at the King's Cross railway station, suitcase in hand, with you there to greet me. The sun is shining, the war is over, and the Allied forces have won. We are finally free. VGK. So this is so cool. Oh my gosh. Also, I need to credit this actually for Mr. Dollix, his images straight from his live stream, because we did get these inside the World War II.classify or whatever that website's called, but we actually didn't get the second half of this page, so I just decided it'd be better if I just use his, because it's just easier to read, and plus we don't have the second part on the other one. And it was real big credits to him. I'll link the tweet where he tweeted these out down in the description also, but this is pretty darn interesting. I absolutely love this Klaus character. Marie's really cool too, but this Klaus character just seems so cool. He words things in such a way that just are just so good. But a couple things to note is that he is talking about Strauss and the final Reich, and the final Reich was mentioned in the previous one that we talked about just yesterday or the day before, which again we're not entirely sure what the final Reich. Actually, that's not right. They talked about a fourth Reich in the last one. They're now talking about a final Reich. Wait, I just realized that the final Reich is actually different from the fourth Reich. Wait a second. I think that's the case, at least. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, I'll probably cut this part out. But wait, the final Reich, what is this now? This is weird. They keep on introducing the Alführer and the new Führer, who is not Hitler, which should be, I forgot his name, I do apologize, but there's somebody taking the place of Hitler that I talked about in my very first video about all these letters and everything. And then the one before this, they talked about the Fourth Reich, and now they're talking about a final Reich. That is weird, actually. I just realized that now, but it is very interesting. I do not know what they mean by the final Reich. I don't know if that actually has anything in history. I just thought it was a fourth Reich for who knows what reason. But he does say that their home is no longer our home, which is Bavaria, which they mentioned inside the last one, and of course they mentioned it's all the other ones. I don't want to go over it again, but it looks like they pretty much destroyed this place, and it looks pretty awful, I would imagine. And it's also in Middleburg, and it's kind of weird because he needs to escape Middleburg, that's what he says, and he's going to Cambridge, right? But the thing is that we're pretty sure the map is going to be taking place in Middleburg. At least that's what's highly hinted at, but I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to escape Middleburg and actually go up Cambridge. But it is interesting because Cambridge is actually where she was studying when they were both younger, when he had to leave his studies at, I forgot which college, I do apologize, but he had to return home to Bavaria while she stayed in Cambridge, and then somehow ended up in the OSS in the United States, which again we heard in a different one. Also, this Strauss character, I'm not too sure if we've heard about him before. People were talking about him like we've heard of him before, but this is the first time I remember this guy being mentioned before ever. But I don't know, he looks pretty messed up, although his only interest is in creating the final Reich, whatever the final Reich is. Of course, if you guys are unfamiliar, Reich just means like emperor or domain or something like that, which would be interesting in that, of course, they could have the final Reich, the final empire or something like that. They could be saying that, but I'm not entirely sure. That's all interesting in itself. And then of course he talks about if he doesn't actually survive or they don't meet, just pass his story as a cautionary tale, which we don't know that much about his story, but I would imagine she knows more more about it because we're skipping a lot in her journal, so I imagine there's more between the two months that we actually skipped. But the last part, this is why I think his character is just so cool. He just has to mention this. It's just so cool. Like, it's kind of depressing too, because it was the image that he talks about that he's at King's Cross Railroad Station and that she's there to greet him. It's like the Allied forces have won, the war's over, and they're finally free. Because the funny thing is, he was actually pretty happy with the Nazi movement at first. If you guys look back to my previous videos, I think he was the first one on this. But now, of course, he looks pretty upset with the whole situation because Nazis aren't exactly good guys. If you guys didn't know, that's probably surprising for most of you guys, but I'm just kidding. But anyways, it is pretty interesting. It's pretty depressing, and I don't know, it's like I have a bad feeling about this Klaus character. I don't think his story is going to end well. At least I don't. That's just what I don't think. But anyways, that's all I can say about those ones. Hopefully I didn't spend too much time on those ones, just talking about pretty much nothing. But anyways, the last thing I want to talk about is this video clip that also Mr. Dollar got. Of course, I'll link this again down in the description, but I'm just going to play it for you guys, and then of course I'll just point out two things, and then of course I'll end the video after that. So the two things I just really want to touch on is these two images that we see on the wall right here, and this looks pretty cool. Well, I can't really read what it says on these things, but we do see these bodies right here, and I thought it was worth pointing out. One looks like it's severed in half, or at least the bottom half is all it looks like it's left is just the skeleton part of them, which would probably be pretty disturbing. But again, not really that much to actually really say about it. But the last part I want to look at is just these bodies on the wall right here. One looks like they're maybe plastered on the wall, and I'm not too sure if these are real bodies because they kind of look like it, but then you see this half body on the floor, and just like looks like those things that represent human bodies that people just use to really study. So this may be one of the colleges, maybe it's Cambridge, I don't know, because we did hear that Cambridge is where Klaus is, but I don't actually think that's the case because I don't think he's ever going to get to Cambridge. Plus, it looks like Bulgaria is really where all the damage is being done because that's where he says to stay away from. He doesn't say stay away from where he's trying to flee to. That doesn't make sense, so ignore that part. I just thought I'd throw it in there anyways. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, go ahead and thumbs up. If you guys want to stay tuned for content similar to this, go ahead and subscribe. But I'm going to go, and I will catch you guys on my next video.